The House will come to order. Please join Representative Exum for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
Mr. Gregorio, please call a roll.
Representatives Amabile. Representative Amabile. Representative Amabile is excused. Representative Arndt. Bacon. Baisley. Benavidez. Burnett. Representative Burnett. Representative Burnett is excused. Byrd. Bockenfeld. Bradfield. Caraveo. Carver. Representative Carver. Representative Carver is excused. Catlin. Cutter. Doherty. Duran. Representative Duran is excused. Escar. Exum. Froelich. Representative Froelich. Geithner. Representative Geithner. Representative Geithner is excused. Gonzalez Gutierrez. Gray. Representative Gray. Representative Gray is excused. Hanks. Harrod. Representative Harrod. Representative Harrod is excused. Holtorf. Hooton. Representative Hooton. Representative Hooton is excused. Jackson.
Here.
Judah. Kennedy. Representative Kennedy. Representative Kennedy is excused. Kipp. Larson. Montine. Luck. Lynch. McCluskey. McCormick. McKean. McLaughlin.
Present.
Michelson Janae. Mullica. Neville. Ortiz. Pelton.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Pico. Ransom. Rich. Ricks. Roberts. Sandridge. Sirota. Snyder. Soper.
He's going to be just a little late.
Representative Soper is excused. Sullivan. Tipper. Tatone. Valdez A. Valdez D. Van Beber. Van Winkle. Weissman. Will. Williams. Woodrow. Woog. Young. And Mr. Speaker.
With 59 present, 6 excused, we have a quorum. Representative Hanks.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Journal of Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021 be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
Thank you, Representative Hanks. You have heard the motion. All those in, you've heard the motion that the journal be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes clearly have it, and the motion is adopted. Announcements and introductions. Representative Will.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you as well, Representative Will.
I have a tribute I'd like to have read this morning.
Great. Members, we have a tribute. Please direct your attention to the well.
March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and that's why you see the TP on your desk, so. Please do.
State of Colorado, the House of Representatives, convened in the 73rd General Assembly, hereby extends sincere commendations to the Colorado Cancer Screening Program. The Colorado Cancer Screening Program has its foundation in colorectal cancer screening. CCSP has navigated more than 30,000 people into preventative screening since its inception in 2006. During this grant cycle to date, the program has navigated over 5,000 individuals into the current grant cycle that, if not caught, would have gone on later to more advanced disease, poor prognosis, and diminished quality of life. CCSP estimates that we have also prevented over 550 cancers and saved the healthcare system conservatively 12 to 15 million based on the conservative amount to treat these cancers, first course of therapy, minus the program costs. But CCSP also strives to integrate lung cancer screening, identification of high-risk families, and integrate with the statewide breast and cervical program for integrated care. The Colorado Cancer Coalition, with partners, have worked with the legislature to explore efforts to advance more integrated care to reduce health disparities, and support the work of CCSP this March. On request of Representative Perry Will, given this 24th day of March, 2021, State Capitol, Denver.
Representative Will.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So as I mentioned, March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. And, you know, a woman has a 1 in 27 chance of getting colorectal cancer. A man has 1 in 34 chance of getting colorectal cancer. This is important. You know, there's over 311,000 cancer survivors living in Colorado in this state right now. So colorectal cancer runs in families. The screening is critical. And, you know, you need to know your family's health and history and do these screenings. It's critically important, too, for, as you know, last year, Rep. Buckner and I, which is now Senator Buckner, run this colorectal cancer bill, and we kind of, you know, got the COVID situation and all that, didn't get it across the finish line. But we're going to keep trying. We need to get funding for this, and we're going to keep hammering at it until we get this done. It's critical for rural Colorado, and all of our, the incident rate in rural Colorado is really high, and we need to address those issues. We need to address it statewide. So anyway, I wanted to bring attention to this, and I want everyone to show that we're cancer strong. If you saw in the flyer my picture, I kind of feel like a T-Rex a little bit when I do my little muscle showing, but there was a time when I had some. But anyway, for a photo op, I would like everyone to show a strong arm and support against cancer. Pictures. This is sort of like isometric now. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Representative Will. Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Representative Will. Now I know where all the toilet paper went last year. But members, you know, on behalf of all those who are battling cancer, from individuals, some of our family, friends, our neighbors, even our own colleagues, as we know, and I want to thank Representative Will for bringing March, as we well know it, as Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. Please get screened, get tested, take care of your health, not only today but every day, because we only have one life to live, and make sure we make the best of it. So thank you, and to everybody, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Valdez. I have a quick announcement. Representative Doherty will replace Representative Duran on the Business Affairs and Labor Committee for today only. Representative McLaughlin.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Hope you can hear me today. Education Committee will be meeting in room 107, 10 minutes after adjournment, and we're going to be listening to House Bill 1112. See you there. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative McLaughlin. Representative Exum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, everybody. House Transportation and Local Government meeting this afternoon. It is Representative Michelson Janae Day in House Transportation and Local Government. We will be hearing House Bills 1128, 1066, 1073, and 1014. Be there.
Thank you, Representative Exum. Representative Weissman.
Thank you, and good morning, Mr. Speaker and members. This is an announcement for Judiciary Committee. We have 4 bills on our calendar for 1:30 this afternoon in room 107. House Bill 1108, 1110, 1143, and 1089. I want to direct members' attention to a strike below amendment that was circulated to the desks yesterday concerning House Bill 1110. I expect we'll be considering that amendment. See you at 1:30. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Weissman. I was just informed that Representative Williams will replace Representative Carver on Business Affairs and Labor for today only. Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, esteemed colleagues. Today is a very special day here at the state capitol. It's Colorado Ag Day.
And Representative Holtorf, we are doing a resolution after second reading on this, so I just wanted to make sure you were aware.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And the chairwoman of the Ag Committee and our ranking member did inform us about the resolution. I just wanted to make an announcement. Nope.
Yeah, hold on one second.
I'm going to
Representative
withhold
Holtorf.
that announcement till later today. Mr. Speaker, thank you for your leadership.
You got it, Representative Holtorf. Thanks so much. Further announcements and introductions. Further announcements? The next order of business is third reading of bill. Representative Valdez.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I'm just a little behind today. All right, folks. House Energy and Environment will be meeting today upon adjournment 20 minutes after we adjourn. We're hearing two bills, Senate Bill 20 and House Bill 1205. See you there.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Business Affairs and Labor Committee, we are meeting upon adjournment this morning in room 112. We have two bills, House Bill 1193 and House Bill 1144.
Thank you. And I have actually one more. Representative Ortiz will replace Representative Amable on Business Affairs and Labor tomorrow, Friday, for 1 day only.
Tomorrow's Thursday.
Thursday. It's been a long week. Majority Leader Escar. Nothing. Okay, here we go. We ready for third reading? Sorry about that. Mr. Gregorio, members, we're going to proceed to the next order of business, which is third reading of bills. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1129.
House Bill 1129 by Representatives McLaughlin and Bradfield, also Senators Bridges and Story, concerning extension of the deadline by which teachers must complete training in teaching reading.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1129 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1129 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Those participating remotely, Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Pelton, Ransom, Rich, Ricks, Will. Please close the machine. With 45 aye votes, 16 no votes, and 4 excused, House Bill 1129 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1046.
House Bill 1046 by Representatives Arndt and Catlin, also Senators Fields and Sonnenberg, concerning the use of a water right obtained through a mutual ditch corporation.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1046 on third reading, final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1046 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Harrod, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Harrod votes yes. Representative Hanks, Molka, Luck. Please close the machine. With 62 aye votes, 0 no votes, and 3 excused, House Bill 1046 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative McLaughlin, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Bill 1148.
House Bill 1148 by Representatives Bockenfeld and Michelson-Janay, also Senators Fields and Smallwood, concerning the distribution of an annual report regarding the Colorado State Fair and in connection therewith, changing the annual reporting deadline and requiring that the report be submitted to all members of the General Assembly.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For the good of the Colorado State Fair in Pueblo, I move House Bill 1148 on third reading and final passage.
I'm not sure that's a proper motion, Majority Leader Escar. The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1148 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Harrod, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Harrod votes yes. Representative Ricks and Sandridge. Please close the machine. With 58 aye votes, 4 no votes, and 3 excused, House Bill 1148 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of Senate Bill 79.
Senate Bill 79 by Senators Sonnenberg, also Representatives Pelton and Valdez D., concerning the sale of animals for consumption to informed consumers in a manner that exempts the sale from certain laws.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Bill 79 on third reading, final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 79 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Harrod, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Harrod votes yes. Representative Kennedy, Representative Lontine. Please close the machine. 62 aye votes, no votes, and 3 excused. Senate Bill 79 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative McLaughlin, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1178.
House Bill 1178 by Representatives Pico and Valdez D., also Senators Woodward and Zenzinger, concerning correcting non-substantive errors in the Colorado Marijuana Code.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to lay over House Bill 1178 till, sorry. Let me repeat this. I move House Bill 1178 on third reading and final passage.
I think that was proper motion. I'm just joking. The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1178 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Harrod, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Harrod votes yes. Representative Kipp, please close the machine. With 62 aye votes, no votes, and 3 excused, House Bill 1178 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title to Senate Bill 24.
Senate Bill 24 by Senators Jaquez Lewis and Rankin, also Representative Sullivan, concerning recognition of the 30th day of March as a commemorative state holiday and in connection therewith designating the 30th day of March as Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Bill 24 on third reading and final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 24 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Gregorio, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes. Representative Harrod, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Harrod votes yes. Please close the machine. 62 aye votes, no votes, and 3 excused. Senate Bill 24 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative McLaughlin, co-sponsor. Representative Jackson, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. The next order of business is general order, second reading of bills. You have heard the motion from Representative Woodrow. Seeing no objection, Representative Woodrow will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there's a request for reading a bill at length. Committee reports are printed in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader, and the coat rule is relaxed. Yeah. Mr. Gregorio, please read House Bill 1048.
House Bill 1048 by Representative Valdez A., also Senator Rodriguez, concerning a requirement that retail establishments accept United States currency for purchases.
Representative A. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you.
I move House Bill 1048 and the Business Affairs and Labor Report.
To the Business Affairs and Labor Report.
All right, so we did an amendment in Business Affairs and Labor that essentially made it okay for rental car companies, hotels that accept security deposits to continue to do so and to be exempted from the cash provision of the bill. It also made sure that we clarified that if a retailer has one line that accepts cash at a multi-line establishment, that would be acceptable under the scope of the bill. So I ask for a yes vote on the committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the Business Affairs Committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Business Affairs and Labor Committee report. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The Business Affairs Committee report passes. To the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a simple bill. Basically, all it says is that retailers that accept cash traditionally have a cashier will continue to accept cash. What many people in Colorado don't know is there's a large unbanked population, a population of folks who just don't have access to credit cards, debit cards, bank accounts, etc. We want to make sure that those folks can still buy their basics. Very simple bill, and I would ask you for an aye vote.
Thank you, Representative. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1048. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1048 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please. Oh, sorry. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to lay over House Bill 1167 till tomorrow, March 25th.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, House Bill 1167 will be laid over as requested by the Majority Leader. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that House Bill 1067 be laid over till tomorrow, March 25th.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, the bill will be laid over as requested by the Majority Leader. Madam Majority Leader.
And one more just for fun. I move to lay over House Bill 1092 at the sponsor's request until tomorrow, March 25th.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, House Bill 1092 will be laid over as requested by the Majority Leader. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1152.
House Bill 1152 by Representatives Valdez, D., and Lynch, also Senators Kirkmeyer and Zenzinger, concerning the repeal of statutes related to the obsolete Capitol Dome Restoration Fund.
Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 1152, and there's no committee report.
To the committee report. Did you just say the committee report?
To the bill.
To the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a statutory advisory committee bill that came out, and this bill not only repeals Section 4430-1201, but also this is a good bill moving forward to help restoration of the Capitol Dome. With that, we're trying to make sure that there's all one sequence of color on the Capitol. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1152. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1152 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1154.
House Bill 1154 by Representatives Lynch and Valdez, D., also Senator Moreno, concerning the elimination of obsolete provisions of the Child Care Contribution State Income Tax Credit.
Representative Lynch.
Mr. Chair, I move House Bill 211154. There is no committee report.
To the bill.
House Bill, once again, we're just doing some housekeeping here, and 1351 basically removed the provision permitting a child care contribution income tax credit for an in-kind contribution. Basically, this just fixed the language for in-kind contributions versus cash contributions.
Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, this is a good bill. Vote yes.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1154. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. 1154 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1158.
House Bill 1158 by Representatives Lynch and Valdez D., also Senator Kirkmeyer, concerning non-substantive modifications to sales and use tax exemptions and in connection therewith reorganizing sales and use tax exemptions for agriculture, livestock, and special fuels.
Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I move House Bill 1158, and there is no committee report.
To the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a good bill. Not only are we celebrating Ag Day here today, but ensuring that throughout the state of Colorado, we're standing with agriculture to make sure that we have food on our tables and helping out our farmers and ranchers in all aspects for the next generation.
Representative Lynch.
I'd also like to add that this is very substantive, and you should probably pay attention because this bill actually rolls poultry into the livestock category. So this is what I would like to refer to as the chicken bill, and I'd like you to know that on behalf of the number of feathers in my district, I would like your support. Oh, yes.
Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not only with chickens, we need some bacon with that also. So thank you, Representative Bacon, and thank you, Representative Kennedy, for the eggs and the poultries. Appreciate that. Is it a good bill? Vote yes.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I love this bill. Anytime we can protect the different tax exemption in agriculture, it's a great thing. So I like this bill. I urge a yes vote.
Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, esteemed colleagues.
1 second, Representative. Members, if we could quiet down just a little bit, take your conversations off to the side. Thank you. Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could indulge your attention just for a little bit, considering it is Colorado Ag Day, it's very appropriate this bill is before us. I want to mention one thing. If you've ever been involved directly in farming and ranching, number one, it's hard work. It's long hours, and it takes a lot of energy, not only personal energy, professional energy, but real energy to do what we do. To grow the food, to grow the crops, to raise the cattle. If anybody wants to see it, and I'm going to host a trip this summer, I'm going to show you. But they're long days, long hours, a lot of time on a tractor, a lot of time in a pickup, a lot of time and energy to do this endeavor. Now, what most people don't realize, and for those of us that are in agriculture, that run a small business, and we have to look at our P&L, and you all know what that is, our profit and loss, and we have to see if we can cash flow and survive. And we have to go to our bankers every year. For those of you that don't understand the business model, ladies and gentlemen, you have to go every year and renew what's called your revolving line of credit with your banker. Your ag banker who understands agricultural enterprises does one thing. He looks at your financials and says, do you have enough equity to roll the dice one more year? Do you have enough equity? Have you paid down your loan? Have you paid down the interest on that loan? And if any of you want to get into ag finance, I'll tell you what, you will be shocked at the amount of capital requirement to do what we do to put food on your table. Now, here's why this is important, ladies and gentlemen, if I can indulge you just for 1 second, please. If you take the top 5 expenses in our cash flow, fuel is in the top 5. I don't know why you'd ask for that. Fuel is in the top 5. And this bill right here, allows for us to continue to raise the food and put the food on your table with an exemption that is necessary to keep us in the black. Because what you don't understand in agriculture that I do, and many of us do, that have had to sit across from that banker, and talk about what happened last year, what happened the year before, in an industry, ladies and gentlemen, in an industry where you do not control your commodity prices. You have to bet on the price to keep you in business. You have no control over those commodity prices. You roll the dice every year hoping that that price comes in above the waterline. This is something that helps Colorado from this gold dome close the rural-urban divide. This is something that is good for agriculture, and it's good for all of you, and it keeps the price and cost of your food affordable. So I encourage a yes vote on this bill. I don't know if we understand how important this is to my people. So I'm here pleading, and I'm asking for your indulgence and your intention and understanding to help me close the rural-urban divide. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the attention and time.
Thank you, Representative. Is there any further discussion? Representative Will.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you, Representative Will. Members, please quiet down.
I just wanted to come up and offer strong support for this bill. Anything that helps ag bottom line, ag producers' bottom line is a good bill. So ag's critical to this state. So strong support.
Thank you, Representative Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just to kind of piggyback onto the great points that have been made, agriculture is also a wholesale business. We have to buy everything at retail, but we sell at wholesale. So every exemption we can get just helps it get a little closer to hopefully breaking even. So I just want to make that point.
Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It is an honor to serve with you, Representative Catlin.
Thank you. Members, I'm down here to talk about agriculture, but you know, when we talk about ag, a lot of people disconnect. Because if you don't do it, you don't know about it. If you go to the grocery store, you don't realize it. And so one of the things I wanted to come down, and this is serious, this is a good bill. It'll do a lot of good things. But I did hear mention that chickens are involved. We've had a lot of fun with chickens and eggs and those kind of things down here at this well. But one of the things I wanted to mention to you is that the chicken is involved with your breakfast, but the pork is completely committed. So thank you. Good bill.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Pelton.
You know, I'm not a very good staller, but we've got a great amendment that's being worked on, and so if people can come down and talk for just a minute, Representative Will is going to be presenting an excellent, I mean, it's the best amendment you've ever seen. The best. So I just ask for your indulgence, and if somebody wants to come down and fill a little time here at the mic until that's done, that'd be great.
Representative Gray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My favorite breakfast is actually involves both the eggs and the pork, and mostly bacon. I'm a breakfast burrito guy, and I'll tell you, I love the mornings here at the Capitol, where I don't have early morning meetings, because I can stop for a breakfast burrito near the place where my law office is. Green chili is important. Pueblo green chili. Pueblo green chili is, it's not a breakfast burrito if it doesn't have Pueblo green chili in it, for my money. And I appreciate all those who bring both the eggs and the wheat and the pork that goes into my personal favorite breakfast food. I've never grown wheat personally, but I appreciate those who do. Winter wheat from Colorado is a really difficult thing to grow without irrigation, as we all know. The folks do that work, and then they bring that wheat to market, and they deliver it for us, and this bill clearly helps with that process. I don't know if the minority leader has additional comments. I may be running out of them.
Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Folks, did you ever have to have shredded wheat as a child? Did you? Do you remember the big bricks of shredded wheat? And my dad would take those, and he would, because when we were really little, we were like, I don't want to eat straw, but here it is. And so he would like break it into our bowl. But that is exactly what you were saying. That is the product of the farmer who needed the fuel to put in the tractor so he could plow the ground. Now, we raised wheat a few years, and And I thought it was cute because I like to disc. I like to turn over the earth. And when we would drive back up to the house at the top of the hill, I could look back and I could see this beautiful black field. Our soil in North Missouri was about 6 feet thick of topsoil, just black as night. Beautiful soil. And I got to the point where I would drive up the hill and I'd look back and I'm like, that's a beautiful thing I did. And then I thought, I'm going to be artistic about this. And so I went down, about halfway down the field, I went in and I did a big turn and went out the other end of the field and I left this beautiful big donut out in the middle of that field. And it was when Dad was planting wheat that I found out that was a bad idea. Because he says it's really hard to plant wheat when the furrow kind of makes a turn. But here's the deal. He needed fuel in that tractor. Bring it home, we say. He needed fuel in that tractor, and by golly, we couldn't have made it if we hadn't gotten a sales tax exemption for the fuel we put in that tractor. You go for 2 minutes.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Lynch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to extend a huge appreciation to my fellow ag representatives for turning what was going to be a new record. 4 bills that made it through committee in 12 minutes, and now we had a proposed amendment. I would vote a hearty yes vote on this bill.
Representative D. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank everyone who came up here today to talk about agriculture, because it is important, and not only is it a passion of mine. And talking with one of my representatives, looking at chicken manure. And the chicken manure is a great, not only nutrient in our soils that we utilize, in our potatoes, our fruits and vegetables, but also the makeup of our soils, because it's a great, not only the nitrogen, the makeup of it. And I want to thank my colleague for proposing the importance of it, because it is very essential, but also we all have to remember the cost of farming is not easy. Looking at fuel exemption is one of the big aspects in this bill. And on a farm, the cost of fuel continues to rise. And if you look at the markets and commodities and the risks involved in farming on a day-to-day basis, we've grown wheat on our farm, we've grown oats, alfalfa, grass, cow-calf operation, and the risks are every day struggling. But with that, I want to thank everyone on their support on this bill, and also my colleague, Representative Lynch, for his support, and ask for your support on this bill, House Bill 1158.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1158. All those in favor say aye. Aye! All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1158 passes. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of House Bill 1177.
House Bill 1177 by Representatives Valdez, D. and Lynch, also Senators Moreno and Woodward, concerning the inclusion of use tax exemptions for certain existing sales tax exemptions in order to make the exemptions compatible with fundamental principles of sales and use tax.
You two again. Representative Lynch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move House Bill 211177. There is no committee report.
To the bill.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and it's an honor to serve with you. This is a good bill. Please vote yes on 1177.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1177. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1177 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just like a rooster, I move that we rise and report.
Whoa. Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come to order. Mr. Gregorio, please read the report.
Mr. Speaker, your committee of the whole begs leave to report it is out under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1048 is amended, House Bill 1152, House Bill 1154, House Bill 1158, House Bill 1177 passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1067, 1092, 1167 laid over until 3/25/21 and retaining their place on the calendar.
Representative Woodrow. You have heard the motion. There are no amendments at the desk. The question before us is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Gregorio, open the machine and members proceed to vote. Those participating remotely, Representative Jackson, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Jackson votes yes. Representative McLaughlin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative McLaughlin votes yes.
How's it going?
Representative Byrd and Doherty. Representative Doherty, that is a $5 fine. Representative Byrd, that is a $5 fine. Please close the machine. With 48 aye votes, 14 no votes, and 3 excused, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. That brings us to resolutions. The next order of business is consideration of resolutions. Mr. Gregorio, please read the title of the House Joint Resolution 1005.
HJR 21-10005 by Representatives Arndt and Catlin, also Senators Sonnenberg and Donovan, concerning the designation of March 23rd, 2021 as Colorado Agricultural Day.
Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you as well, Representative Catlin.
Thank you very much. I'd like to have this resolution read at length.
Whereas Americans enjoy the safest, most abundant, and most affordable food supply in the world, thanks largely to the efficiency and productivity of America's farm and ranch families. And whereas worldwide demand for food is expected to double by 2050 as the world's population expands from the current 7.5 billion to 9.5 billion, challenging farmers and ranchers to produce more food, feed, fiber, and fuel. And whereas today 90% of United States farms and ranches are operated by families, and each feeds an estimated 155 people, a dramatic increase from the 1960s when each farmer could feed only 26 people. And whereas Americans spend less than 7% of their annual income on food, less than any other developed nation, while American farmers and ranchers receive on average only about 16 cents of every dollar spent on food. And whereas American farmers and ranchers are the most capable and responsible providers for the safety, health, and well-being of their livestock. And whereas agriculture ranks among the most important economic sectors in Colorado, supporting more than 195,000 jobs and generating an estimated $47 billion of economic activity annually. And whereas exports of Colorado food and agriculture products have more than tripled in the past 20 years and totaled $2 billion in 2017. And whereas Colorado agriculture contributes to national security not only by providing food and fiber, but also by producing energy. And whereas Colorado recognizes landowners whose livelihood depends upon the property they reside on, operate on, and care for as they work to provide basic necessities to all. And whereas leadership is vital to the viability of the agriculture industry, and participants in programs like the National Future Farmers of America organization, 4-H, and the Colorado Agricultural Leadership Program help develop those leadership skills necessary to promote agriculture and educate their urban cousins on the importance of agriculture to the world. And whereas Colorado's agricultural industry requires an adequate, reliable workforce in order to provide food from the field to the table, and whereas Colorado's farms and ranches provide wildlife habitat, open space, and a site to innovate for and substantiate farming practices that ensure the protection of state resources, and whereas Colorado's agricultural and aquacultural producers provide a diverse and valuable array of livestock and crops, including cattle, sheep, hogs, horses, goats, bison, elk, poultry and eggs, dairy products, millet, corn, sweet corn, wheat, hay, chilies, potatoes, barley, sorghum, sunflowers, dry beans, soybeans, onions, carrots, wine, grapes, apples, melons, peaches, numerous other fruits and vegetables, honey, greenhouse, and nursery products and fish. And whereas beyond food, fiber, and fuel, farm products can be found in everyday items from the medications to school supplies to musical instruments. And whereas Colorado's agro-tourists employ sound animal husbandry practices, ensuring that livestock remain healthy, productive, and content. And whereas Colorado agriculture provides an estimated $67.5 million annually to support the state's wildlife. And whereas Colorado's farmers and ranchers are innovative entrepreneurs and business leaders who remain resilient in their dedication to the continued prosperity of the state's agricultural economy. And whereas the protection of private property and the rights of landowners who provide wholesome, safe food to Americans and others worldwide is essential. And whereas farmers and ranchers are critical to Colorado agritourism, welcoming tourists from around the world and showing them all Colorado has to offer. And whereas losing agricultural land and water to other uses will result in an overall negative impact to the state economy and a loss of food production vital to all Coloradans. And whereas the United States national security is stronger because farmers and ranchers provide more than enough food to keep this country from depending on other nations for subsistence. And whereas March 23rd, 2021 is National Agricultural Day, now therefore be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 73rd General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the Senate concurring herein, that we, the members of the Colorado General Assembly, proudly recognize and designate Colorado Agricultural Day on March 23rd, 2021 in celebration of the many men and women who strengthen the nation's agricultural industry, promote a safe and high quality and substantial food supply, and protect consumers, the environment, and natural resources. Be it further resolved that copies of this joint resolution be sent to the Honorable Governor Jared Polis, Colorado Commissioner of Agriculture Kate Greenberg, and the members of the Colorado Congressional Delegation.
Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I move House Joint Resolution 211005. And I yield to my ranking minority member.
Representative Catlin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. It's an honor to serve with you.
And it's an honor to serve with you, sir.
Members, I wanted to have that completely read. I know that it sometimes hurts standing up because my knee's killing me right now. But I wanted you to hear how important agriculture is to all of us. Not just us Aggies or these people that are on the Ag Committee, but to all of us. Colorado is a solid agricultural community. It's a great state. We lead in a number of different areas. But one of the things that we do have for us is we set up here at the top of the nation. Great sun-filled days, cooler nights. Our seed production is some of the best in the world. I don't think we think about that enough. And one of the things I wanted to say this morning is that agriculture is one of the major foundation stones in the foundation of the state of Colorado. And if you're like I am, I don't think much about my foundation until they come and tell me I have a massive crack in it and it's going to cost an awful lot to fix it. And that's kind of what happens with agriculture. Ag members are out there at the edge of town quietly doing their job. We don't really think about them. We don't really think about what they're doing. But one of the things that they are doing for the state of Colorado is that 90%, and this is U.S.-wide, 90% of the farms in the United States are owned by families, family farms. And each farmer, we heard that earlier this morning, each farmer feeds 155 people. As short a time ago as the 60s and 70s, we fed 25 to 30. This is an industry that is changing rapidly. We are becoming much more technical and tech-oriented. That may be one of the things that gets our urban cousins involved, is the technology is really coming to the front for ag. I want to remind us that we only spend 7% of our income is spent for food. That's in the 50s and in the 50s and 60s, we were spending 15 to 20%. Today, we spend 7%. That's efficiency. That's effectiveness, because we are holding food prices down. One of the things I want to mention to you is that when a farmer sells a product at the farm gate, he gets about 16 cents out of the dollar that is spent for food. It's not a large margin business. It's more of a love what you do business. But we have over 195,000 jobs in the state of Colorado that are directly tied to agriculture. We need to keep them. We need to keep those jobs working. Because if we don't, your agricultural production will go down really fast. One of the hidden values of agriculture is the habitat that agriculture creates for the non-huntables or the wildlife that we've got in our state of Colorado. It's something that's never talked about. But irrigated ag and agriculture out here on the Eastern Plain creates some habitat that was not there before agriculture. We don't do it out of the good of our heart, I think. I think what happens is we just do it. Because it's part of the farm, we don't tear it up. We make sure that those habitats are out there. I want to remind you and impress upon you how resilient, innovative entrepreneurs and business leaders are in this business. If you go out in the rural part of the community, you're going to find farmers that sit as county commissioners, as council members, as leaders in their community. Yet they go home and work 12 to 14-hour days. That impresses me. I'm proud of them for being that kind of people. And I can't go on without talking to you about we cannot afford to lose agricultural land and agricultural water in the state of Colorado. And we are. The negative effects to each and every one of us in this room and the people that we represent will be traumatic. We grew up loving the state that we live in, expecting to see what we've always seen when we go out to the edge of town. And that's family farms that are producing and raising kids and raising all the things we eat. But what's happening is we're being pinched. The state of Colorado's being pinched. Rapid growth, the need for more water, the need for more space, for housing, for downtowns and those type of things is on our horizon. It's here. I'm sure that you see it in your communities, the rapid expansion of residential properties, more and more retail. It's all good business, but what's the foundation of it? Are we losing our agricultural base? Not just financially, but the things that we want to pass on. As a community, we're going to have to sit down and talk about what's Colorado going to look like. Are we going to just end up looking like another great big place? And out in the community, out in the country, nobody's there? We can't do that. I implore you, when we bring agricultural bills to this House floor, please pay attention. Please help us. Because every one of us that's standing down here is very, very connected to ag. In fact, so are you. We fed you this morning's breakfast, and we're going to feed you today's lunch, and we'll probably feed you tonight's supper. So anyway, thank you so much for your attention. I'm glad that the state of Colorado will recognize agriculture and the value that agriculture has to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Representative Catlin, and thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I'm just here as chair of the House Ag Committee, and people say to me, when I'm out in the field, how could you be chair of Agriculture Committee? Well, let me tell you what my district adds to the agricultural economy of the Colorado. Colorado State University is one of the premier agriculture research institutions in the United States, and it's known worldwide, right? The partial flume was invented at Colorado State University. So in addition to our wonderful producers and the people that grow and raise the food that we eat daily, we also have researchers working 24/7 on this stuff, right, to bring to you all the innovations that we've been talking about. My district also hosts the Water Center. And it wasn't, I'll have to say, even growing up in Fort Collins, the university was always there, and we love the university. And we started off as the Aggies, the Agricultural College. And I came to the House, and I had a much broader appreciation of Colorado State University and the strength and the reach of it. So many graduates serve in the General Assembly. So many people here with us and the people who served before us have lived right in that district. So it's a pleasure when I go around the state to talk about that. So let's appreciate all our producers and all they do for us every day, but let's also appreciate all the wraparound things that go, and then also ag education is a very important part of bringing up the next generation of high-tech farmers and ranchers and food providers, or as my husband's business, they call it food systems. So thank you very much for your attention.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Valdez.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. And members, as some of you might know, I have a deep passion for agriculture. My family farm, but also I want to thank each and every one of you who continue to stand up for ag, from supporting 4-H, FFA programs, for the next generation, because we need to continue educating others on the importance of agriculture in the state of Colorado. As one of the second leading industries in the state, we need to continue making sure that food is on our tables, making sure the San Luis Valley potatoes continue to get transported out, but also those who continue to work in ag on a daily basis. So with that, I want to thank for the Representative Catlin and Representative Arndt for bringing this forward, this resolution, here on Ag Day today, and continue to supporting ag in so many ways. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Pelton.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. What better day to pass a bill to deregulate direct meat sales to consumers, but on Ag Day? I think that's very appropriate. I am a farmer rancher. My grandpa moved to Colorado in 1937 to find green grass because in Kansas where he was, there was no more. So we've been in Colorado 3 generations. I don't know how many generations before that have been farmers, but it is who I am, and it is where my passion is. I come here to fight for agriculture every day. And there's no better industry that I can think of to be involved in. So it's been very good to me. It's been great for the state, for the whole country. So I just appreciate this being brought forward to bring that appreciation to ag.
Thank you. Representative Will. Representative Will.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I forgot who was back there. It's an honor to serve with you.
And with you too, sir.
And I'd ask everyone to sit down if they so choose. Thank you. I just want to come up and say, that Agriculture, private landowners, ranchers, farmers are the lifeblood of our rural communities. They're the true lifeblood of our communities. So I appreciate that. Our Honorable Representative Catlin mentioned wildlife. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the contribution that private landowners in the state of Colorado, ranchers and farmers, and the contributions they make to sustaining our wildlife populations. Because without that and those open spaces and those green spaces they provide, we wouldn't have anywhere close to the wildlife populations that we currently have. So I want to give them a shout out for all their contribution to wildlife. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem, esteemed colleagues. I'm not going to take away from any of the great words that were spoken here, because I think we all have heard the message loud and clear. Today, the Colorado Ag Council is providing us lunch for all legislators in the state capitol. I think it's fitting to let people know how diverse and how dynamic Colorado agriculture is if we don't understand how many places and people it touches. So I just want to read the member list of those that are providing us our food and fiber, and I'll go as fast as I can. Colorado Aquaculture Association, Colorado Association of Conservation Districts, Colorado Association of Wheat Growers. Representative Pelton, I'm sure, is a member of that or has been a past member. Colorado Cattlemen's Association, Colorado Cattle Women's Incorporated, Colorado Corn Administrative Committee, Colorado Corn Growers, Colorado Dairy Farmers, Colorado Dry Bean Administrative Council, Colorado Egg Producers Association, Colorado Farm Bureau, Colorado Fruit and Vegetable Growers, Colorado Horse Council, Colorado Independent Cattle Growers, Colorado Livestock Association, Colorado Onion Association, Colorado Pork Producers, Colorado Potato Administrative Committee, Colorado State Grange, Colorado Sugar Beet Growers, Colorado Wool Growers, Green Co. of Colorado, National Young Farmers Coalition, Rocky Ford Growers Association, Rocky Mountain Agribusiness Association, Rocky Mountain Farmers Union. Those are producer members. Look how diverse and dynamic your Colorado agriculture is. Realize how that network touches everything and everybody. Supporting non-voting members, Colorado Alliance for Mineral Owners, Colorado Federation of Dog Clubs, Colorado Rural Electric Association, Colorado Veterinary Medicine Association, Colorado Weed Management Association, Tri-State Generation and Transmission. Ex officio members, Colorado Chefs Association, Advisor to the Governor on Water, Colorado Agricultural Education, Future Farmers of America, Colorado Ag Leadership Program, Colorado Agricultural Water Alliance, Colorado Department of Agriculture, Colorado FFA Association, Future Farmers of America. By a show of hands, how many were members of the FFA when they were in high school? Let me see. Okay, well, there's, I think, 2 of us. Okay, those blue jackets. A very good foundational organization in the United States and in Colorado. Colorado Foundation for Agriculture, Colorado State University, our land-grant university that used to be Colorado Agriculture and Mechanics. Just like Texas A&M, they were founded on that same principle. My grandfather was on the board of governors of that esteemed institution many, many years ago as a leader in agriculture. Rocky Mountain Food Industry Association, Tomlinson & Associates, United States Department of Agriculture Farm Service Agency, and the Western Dairy Association. Ladies and gentlemen, that long list who sit on the Colorado Agricultural Council, and I didn't see the horse, oh yeah, Colorado Horse Council. It touches everybody and everything in this state, and that cannot be denied. I only have one ask of all of you to try to close the urban-rural divide. I have an ask. We need to close this divide. This is a day that we talk about it, but we need to take this message forward everywhere we go. Because there is a greater attack on rural Colorado and our agri-industries presently in 2021 and 2020 than I've ever seen in my life. We need to take the message, ladies and gentlemen, despite our differences, despite our idealistic passions for this, that, and the other. Let us try to live in harmony in Colorado. Let us do no harm to agriculture in rural Colorado as we try to move forward. There is no utopia. There never will be. We have to live as rural and urban cousins, hand in hand, and work together for a better Colorado. Please, urban legislators, help me share that message as you travel through your districts and let people know how important our livelihood is. Because in rural Colorado, there are real people in real places making a real living that helps support everything along the Front Range. And I just listed the members of the council that illustrate that. Thank you for everybody today for celebrating, and I believe lunch will be here around 11:30. It is a boxed lunch that's prepared in a Colorado Proud array of food products, and I think the Colorado Ag Council will be bringing that and serving that here or outside in the hallway, and more to follow on that. Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem.
You're welcome, sir. I have two people waiting to speak, and I'll go with Madam Majority Leader first.
Just quickly, thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. As a long list of organizations that produce agriculture or help with the ag industry here in Colorado, one was left off, and I just want to make sure to mention it today as we're celebrating Ag Day, and that's the Pueblo Chili Growers Association, who bring you the best chili, green chili, in the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Soper.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. And I have to admit, until after I got married and we took our post-wedding trip around Colorado, we stopped in Pueblo. I'd never had a Pueblo chili until then, and it was really, really good. But members, I did want to tell you, something that wasn't hit on. Representative Catlin had an eloquent speech, but I wanted to hit on just one additional point, and that's that for farmers and ranchers, it's not just a job, it's a lifestyle. It's a way of life. And it's really important to think about that because our farmers and ranchers can go multiple years without making that profit. They roll it over from one year to the next. They really struggle to make ends meet. It's very difficult out there. Last Friday, if you remember, I brought to this body the sad news of Harry Talbot's passing. He was an icon in the Colorado orchardist industry. He also made the Palisade peach probably the most famous thing in western Colorado. But he also said one thing to me that will always stand out, and he said, "Matt, in the orchard business, you may only make a profit once out of every 7 years, and you hope that 1 year is not back-to-back." Those are the real challenges that are faced by agriculture out there. My family, like many others on both sides, was involved in farming and ranching. They came to the San Luis Valley in 1887, but then they decided not to stay. So by 1890, they were in Delta County, where we've been ever since. But I represent that generation that is also the real strain on agriculture, because I chose to go in a different direction into law and politics and business, which means that someone else, my cousins, I'm relying on them to continue the family farm and the ranching business. And that is a real struggle for the next generation to continue to step into the shoes of their parents, to continue the lifestyle and the way of life. And the threat that you just heard a few minutes ago from my good colleague from Montrose is definitely very real. As the only retirement plan is to sell and subdivide the family farm, you no longer have enough land to be able to earn at least an income to break even. It becomes a real fear for what's going to happen to the future of the Colorado farmer, especially the small family farmer, which is why it's really important to have agricultural programs, education. I know with my own cousin, we joked and said that he did a few years in college studying agri-science, and the yield is so much better than what anyone else in the family could achieve. It's amazing what straight furrows will do. But today is the day to thank the Colorado farmer and rancher. Thank you for putting food on our plates.
Thank you. Representative Van Berber. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair Pro Tem. I couldn't be prouder to represent Weld County, one of the highest producing agricultural and ranching counties in the nation. We not only feed just each other, but we feed the world. The bounty and abundance that comes from the land that I grew up on is awe-inspiring. When Representative Holtorf asked, "Were you an FFA?" I made a comment to somebody standing next to me. Not me. I didn't have time for a club. I was farming. By the time the sun came up, I was already sitting in the pickup truck with my dad, with a shovel just my height, ready to set 100 tubes, to make sure that the crops that we grew were healthy, were watered. I had the pleasure of being not only up at sun, watching that sun go down, of witnessing every day what a beautiful blue sky and a hot sun would do for our corn. The other things that I remember is watching it rain and then wondering when I went outside would I smell onions, knowing that that smell alone meant that some farmer somewhere nearby had just lost an entire year's worth of crop. And knowing that in our community, every farmer would stand up to ensure that our neighbors would be able to move on and produce another day. I remember at harvest time when neighbors weren't healthy or they, God forbid, had passed away, and their entire operation depended on the neighbors around them to ensure that those crops came in, that those cattle got fed, and their homes were a place that could move on in peace. I could not be prouder of the upbringing that I had. It's made me who I am today, and it's why I'm here. So thank you, Colorado Agriculture. Thank you, Colorado Ranching. You've given us everything that we need to survive, and not only that, but thrive.
Thank you. Representative McCluskey.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I have the joy and delight of representing a district that is both ski boot rural and cowboy boot rural. So I get the best of all worlds. And I want to give voice today to agritourism. I think as leaders in the General Assembly, we have an opportunity, not only today to talk about agriculture, but every day. Come out to the beautiful areas in House District 61, Delta County, which I share with Representative Soper, and come see some of the amazing cottage food growers and vineyards and orchards and learn about what is happening in this great state every single day. I grew up here in Colorado, native, but my folks were both farmers in North Dakota, and some of my best memories were spent out on those farms. Someday I will be a goat farmer. I declare it now. It is my goal in life. I hope that all of us have a little bit of that in us just because we're Coloradans, that we want to experience the great joys and challenges of agriculture. Thanks, House District 61.
Thank you. Representative Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. And so, members, I come from El Paso, and El Paso may not necessarily be thought of as the home of a lot of agriculture, but in fact it is, specifically on the eastern plains of El Paso, specifically out of House District 19. Black Forest specifically, if you look at Ellicott, Yoder, Hanover, Truckton, Callahan, I can go on and on. But I think that the real beauty that I see in what Representative Catlin and Representative Art have given us today is an opportunity to try and refresh and show that little bit of light that I think our ranchers and that our farmers haven't been able to see lately. On the backs of drought that predicated some of what we've been seeing lately, whether it be ballot measures or policy that has come forward, I think a lot of them are really struggling. Most of us, I think, had an opportunity to speak with them just this past weekend. I know we did the meet-in day. We had barbecues all over, and I had the opportunity to speak with hundreds of those ranchers, hundreds of those farmers, hundreds of those folks that work ag. And I think this is just a small gesture that offers them just a glimmer of hope of the direction that Colorado is going. The fact that they know that we are behind them, I think, is important. And so I can't thank enough who I would call maybe the ambassador of agriculture, quite frankly, Representative Catlin. Thank you. I think it's important that this measure came forward, and Representative Art, really do appreciate what this does and the message that this tells the people of Colorado. So I do rise in support. So thank you both.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, the motion before us is the adoption of House Joint Resolution 21-1005. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion is adopted. And co-sponsors, it's been asked that the morning roll call be added as co-sponsors. Any objection to that? If not, the morning roll call be added as co-sponsors. Any more announcements or introductions? Hold on. Representative Luck.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I just wanted to take a moment to remind my caucus specifically of the importance of decorum. Toilet papering one's desk or a desk of a colleague does not raise to the level of the decorum of this chamber.
I can tell you who did it.
I know who did it, but thank you. So just a friendly reminder, guys. And by the way, remember last year when this was more precious than gold, it seemed, right? We don't want to waste these things. So on that note, thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. Members, if you have 1 cup of coffee in this chamber from any of the very generous coffee pots around the chamber, provided to us by the hardworking staff, you need to pay for that. It isn't free. So if you take a cup of coffee, put in $1, $2, 20. Thank you. Thank you. I've given $60 this session, I'm just saying. And I only drink about 1 cup a week. So someone's keeping this kitty afloat, and we need help here.
Last call, Representative Holtorf.
Well, Madam Speaker Pro Tem, I have good news because today there is a free lunch at the Capitol. If you go down to the Hall of Governors, the Colorado Ag Council has provided a boxed lunch. You could have your aide go down there. You can go down there for all the legislators. And today you are getting a free lunch. And somebody said there's no free lunch. Well, today Colorado Agriculture is providing that. Thank you. And I celebrate this day with a warm heart and open arms to everybody in Colorado. Thank you, ma'am.
No more announcements? Madam Majority Leader.
Oh, we do have one more announcement.
Sorry. Representative Lontine.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I wanted to announce that today in Health, Insurance, and Environment, we are hearing House Bill 1012 for action only, House Bill 1140, House Bill 1184, House Bill 1017, House Bill 1183. Be there at 1:30. Look forward to seeing all your bright and shining faces. Thank you.
Hold on. Madam Majority Leader. No more announcements. We'll go with reports of committees of reference.
Committee on Health and Insurance, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1135 be postponed indefinitely. House Bill 1169 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1171 be referred to the favorable lead of the Committee on Appropriations. House Bill 1190 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Committee on Judiciary, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1188 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 73 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Senate Bill 78 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Committee on Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1085 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1119 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1122 be amended as follows and be so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1146 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1151 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1195 be amended as follows and be so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. Committee on Transportation and Local Government, after consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1019 be amended as follows and be so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1024 be amended as follows and be so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. House Bill 1115 be amended as follows and be so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Gregorio. Now, Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Pro Tem. I move that the House stand in recess until later today.
Thank you. See no objection, the House will now stand in recess until later today.